In 25 years, if 10% of the planet becomes desert, by the end of this century, you can imagine what? This is where we are going. Why has such a thing happened? Who is that evil person who is turning this planet into a desert? Because everybody is looking for that person. Who is that? Is this industry, is that industry, is this person, this political leader, that political leader? No, I want you to understand, this has not happened because any one evil person or evil force from anywhere. This has all happened in pursuit of human happiness and well-being. Yes, in pursuit of human happiness. What is wrong with in pursuing human happiness? It's just this. Once, can I tell you a story?
Yes!
For a story, you need a right attitude. When I say once upon a time, you must say, ha ha ha.
No.
On a certain day, a potato farmer wanted to eat an apple. So, he went looking for that tree which produces apples. And he went to the right tree. What tree was that?
Apple.
Apple tree. He went to the apple tree. But out of sheer habit, being a potato farmer, started digging for apples. He dug and he did not find any apples. Whenever what you want doesn't happen, you will become furious. So he became furious and dug furiously and went on digging furiously. After some time, the tree came down upon him. This is the story of humanity right now.
Yes.
This is your story. This is the story of the world. In search of human happiness. Whether happiness happened or misery happened to you, did it happen within you or did it happen all over the place? Huh? It happened within you. Pain and pleasure happens within you. Joy and misery happens within you. Agony and ecstasy happens within you. Anything that ever happened happens within you. Human experience happens within you. Not only happens within you, it is manufactured within you. But we are in search of happiness. We are turning the world upside down in search of our happiness. How many things have you done in pursuit of happiness? The moment you pursue happiness, this is the way it is. Somebody was telling me, it seems some 3 million light years away, just 3 million light years away, there are some 300 and odd planets which are just like Earth and many of them much larger than Earth. If we get there, we don't have to worry about saying so. I said, if we find 8 billion planets like Earth, if you give one to each one of you, as long as you're in pursuit of happiness, you will destroy it within the next 100 years. You're clapping your hands for that? You're clapping your hands, yes, we will destroy it. I'm saying something so simple, we did not figure out. This is a culture, this is a land, this is a nation where for thousands of years we invested in the inner well-being of the human being. This is a land where our history is not replete with just kings and wars. This is a land which is replete with saints, sages, yogis, mystics of the past. Only now, in the last few hundred years, we started writing other kinds of history. Otherwise, always it was about that, because we understood human well-being is most important to address and solve any other problem. As long as we are in pursuit of happiness, as long as we are seeking well-being in the world, there is no end to it. As a generation of people, all of you, is it not true, compared to any other generation in the history of humanity, you're enjoying more comforts and conveniences than any generation ever? Hello?
Yes.
But still you're in pursuit of happiness. So obviously that's not the way to settle it. It doesn't matter what you have will bring comfort and convenience. What you have and what you possess can never bring happiness and well-being to a human being. That can only happen from within. If we do not understand this, if we do not invest in this, we all go on digging for apples in the ground. And all we will have is not apples, we will have a grave for ourselves. Self-help is good that way. You know? That you dig your own grave, at least you're saving labor. It is a good thing. But is that the way to conduct life? What is it that you're looking for? When you say happiness, when you say well-being, all you're looking for is, you want pleasantness of life. Pleasantness of life means, if your body becomes pleasant, we call this health. Do you want it? When I ask you a question, you must say yes or no, because I'm going to bless you. Those of you who stay silent, it's up to you. Pleasantness of body is called health. Do you want it? Pleasantness, if the pleasantness becomes too much, if you become too pleasant, then we say it's pleasure. If your mind becomes pleasant, we call this peace. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy. If your emotions become pleasant, we call this love. Oh. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we call this blissfulness. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call this success. Only to create pleasantness in your surroundings, you need the help and cooperation of people and forces around you. Pleasantness of our surroundings is not all our making. It is about the times in which we are born, where we live. But pleasantness of the body, pleasantness of the mind, pleasantness of the emotion and your energies is 100% your business. Hello?
Yes.
If you do not take care of this one thing, then you will dig on digging the world beyond the needs of what we want, what we need in this world. So, this whole thing has happened in pursuit of human happiness and well-being. As long as people are seeking happiness, you cannot stop the damage. This process of seeking happiness has taken this terrible form because of our competence, because of our intelligence, because of our capabilities. If you had the brain of an earthworm, you would be very peaceful and eco-friendly too. Hello? But now you have this big brain which is so much competence. Now if you are in compulsive states of activity, if you do not function consciously, if you're not invested in being joyful by your own nature, then this intelligence is going to destroy the world. That's all that's happening right now. I am asking you Is intelligence a solution or intelligence a problem? What?
Solution.
Both ways. Both ways. Should intelligence be a solution or a problem?
Solution.
There is no other solution. Intelligence is the only solution. What you call as creation is a brilliant manifestation of intelligence, isn't it so?
Yes.
This beautiful flower that you see at the corner of the stage, its roots are in filth. The more filth you put there, more beautiful and fragrant it becomes. You also make like this?
Yes.
It's very important you also become like this. The more filth people throw at you, the more beautiful you should become. You know, people have been helping me along. Now, this is the nature of the existence. This is the nature of the existence. But what have you become? You have become what you have become because you are not alive, you are a psychological case. How does one become a psychological case? When you make your own thought and emotion more important in the creation itself, you will become a psychological case. People are asking me, Sadhguru, how did you become a soil scientist? How did you become an ecologist? How did you become an environmentalist? Let me tell you, I am not a soil scientist, I am not an ecologist, I am not an environmentalist, I am not even an activist. I am just a worm on this planet. Like a worm, I crawled. For 65 years I've been crawling. People ask, how do you know about the soil? I'm asking, how do you not know? Where were you? Did you come from Mars? Did you come from the moon? Where did you come from? What kind of question is, how do you know? I am asking, how do you not know? Where were you? Oh, you were here. Not here. You did not walk on this planet. You are living in your own world. For this we are paying a price. If you were walking on this planet, really, feeling the life around you, when things are going wrong, you will instantly know, isn't it? Hello?
Yes.
If you were also a worm like me,
Yes.
if you were also living on this planet, not in your own world, you would also definitely know what's going wrong with this. So this is not a joke. This is not one more problem that we have. This is the problem because right now we have just another 60 years of agricultural soil on this planet. Nearly 52% of the topsoil on the planet is gone. What does topsoil mean? Approximately 15 to 18 inches of this topsoil is the cream of this planet. It is here, all life is manufactured. This is so rich with life, so replete with life means a handful of soil has 8 to 10 billion organisms and zillions of them and millions of species. To what extent means top soil scientists in the world are openly admitting they know less than 1% of the species present in the topsoil. When you know less than 1%, you should not mess with it. Hello? When you do not even know 1%, should you mess with it? It's been shocking. Last 2.5 years I've been meeting so many agricultural ministries across the world. It's so shocking to see that 85% of the agricultural ministries in the world consider soil as an inert substance that you can fix by adding a chemical or taking out a chemical. This is the largest living system, not just on this planet. This is the largest living system in the entire known universe. There is no place like this. These 15 to 18 inches of soil, there is no place like this in the entire universe. If you put, even if you sow death into it, only life sprouts out of it. Where is there such a magical material anywhere? knowing this, feeling this, experiencing this, our ancestors referred to soil as our mother, because this is the mother of all our mothers. But today we have become so scientific, and so absolutely senseless that the problem is not of science. The problem is what sort of people are talking about science, what sort of bits and pieces of science people are picking up without knowing the entire science of it. Today, we are referring to soil as a resource that we can use almost across the world. In every ministry in the world, almost everywhere, people are referring to it as a resource. All of us have fed upon the breast of our mother. Will we call her a resource, or is she the source of our life? The day you call your mother a resource, you lost your humanity. Hello? The day you refer to your mother as a resource, you lost the fundamentals of humanity within you. Soil is the mother of our mothers, but we are referring to it as a resource. We are addressing it as a resource. We are paying the price for it. I want you to know the problem is not just of Rajasthan or even of Bharat. It is a global phenomenon right now. The world is heading for this. The minimum organic content that is necessary to call soil as soil is 3%. Minimum is 3%. Not a single nation, not even one nation has this minimum 3% average in it. Not even a single nation. The highest average in the world is Northern Europe. It is 1.48%. Southern Europe has 1.1%. United States has 1.25%. India has 0.68%. Africa, the entire continent on an average, has 0.3%, which is a desert. Anything below 1% is considered as serious desertification. We are already there. If you do not understand what I am saying, living in Rajasthan, you may think it's normal, but if you take a flight from Mumbai to Chennai, across the country, look down every 5 minutes, you will see a brown desert right across. Except for Western Ghats and the northeastern part of the nation, everything looks like a desert because we have even forgotten 50 years ago, every farmer knew when the land is not in use, there must be some cover crop. Even that we have forgotten because we think it is just a resource, we can use it whichever way we want. How did this happen? Why did this happen? What has led to this? In the year 1918, a German scientist came up with the first nitrogenous fertilizer. When this fertilizer came and farmers took it and threw it on their fields, suddenly it worked like magic. In India, there are many places where when we started using the fertilizer, our yield went up by 300%, 3 times over. Naturally, we thought this is magic powder. We started using the magic powder, more and more yield came. Because of that, we thought all these trees and plants and other things which were part of the farming process, we thought these are not necessary because we want to plow every inch of the land. So we got rid of all the plant life. Then because the work increased, we brought the machines. Because the machines came, all the animals went out. No plant life, no animal life. Tell me, where is the organic source apart from plant life and animal life? The green litter from the plants and the animal waste, this is the only way. I want you to clearly understand this. If you search the whole universe, there is not one speck of content without plant life and animal life. But I heard when the UP elections were on, the television debates were going on, I was not in the country, and I hear people debating, All these animals, even in Rajasthan, I think such discussions are going on. All these animals are in the… How do we get rid of them? Some 830 million animals in the country. When 60% or more of our population are farmers, you think bovine animals are a problem? Have we lost it? Have we lost all sense, I'm asking? I'm telling you, if we allow these 830 million animals to disappear from this country, which will inevitably happen in the next 10-15 years' time if you don't take care of them, in the next 10-15 years, if these animals disappear, you are closing the chapter of Bharat in many ways.
Definitely.
This may sound very alarmist. You look it up, don't go by what I said. Please look up the science, look at the UNFAO sites, you look up the UNCCD sites, look up all the soil sites and books that are there. Please look it up. Once animals and plant life disappear, once the source of organic content disappears, you are closing the chapter. And these days, the young people, you only I'm talking about, the young people call themselves Generation Z. This scares me. Z is the last alphabet. Hello? Are you the last generation? Is this what you want? To use some other alphabet, please. Are you the number? At least it will go on endlessly. Generation Z, this is scary. We must understand this. This is very simple to fix. This doesn't need any great new technology. We don't need any rocket science for this. Nor do we need enormous amount of financial outlay. All it takes is, right now we are walking towards the wall. We just have to orient ourselves towards the door. And we must be committed to take every step in the same direction, not change direction. For the next 10 to 15 years, we will have our land back. We will have the aliveness in the land back. This is all it takes. But we elect governments only for 5 years. How will they do it? Because every 5 years somebody keeps changing. Unless people, all of you, unless every one of you raise your voice and say, we want a commitment that is long-term, and we are concerned about long-term well-being of our nation, we are concerned about the future generations. If you do not express this, how will a democratically elected government do anything if there is no people's mandate? Where is the people's mandate? Simply trinkets you're asking for. We want 2 rupees reduction in the petrol price, we want 1% tax benefit. You're getting those things. If you want long-term well-being in a democratic nation, people should raise their voice and give that comfort to the government that if you do long-term things, we are with you. Because the history of this country is, in many states, what I have seen, the day when governments start taking long-term steps, they will lose the election immediately. Will you change that in this country?
Yes.
We must elect those people who take long-term steps for the well-being of this country and the states and the well-being of the future generations. Otherwise, this cannot be fixed. With short-termism, this cannot be fixed. This needs a long-term commitment. Who is willing to do something that bears results after 10, 15, 20 years when their term is only 5 years, I'm asking. Hello?
Yes.
So, just not pointing at fingers at the governments that are today, it is important to give them an assurance. We have written to 730 political parties on the planet that they must make soil and soil ecology part of their political manifestos. It doesn't matter what party you belong to. In the name of political philosophies, ideologies, religion, caste, creed, nationalities, we have divided the world in so many different ways. It's very important when we have found so many points of division between us, it is very important to also have some common denominators among us. Soil is that common denominator. All of us come from it, all of us are eating off it. When we die, we will go back to it. This is important that as a generation we wake up, because as a generation, definitely we have a huge challenge in front of us. At the same time, as a generation, we are profoundly privileged because we are in a cusp of time that if we act now, in the next 10 to 15 years, we can make a significant difference. But if we sleep through this and fall into the disaster, after 30 to 40 years' time, even if you want to do it, it will not happen because the loss of biodiversity is happening at such a pace. On an average, according to UNFAO, on an average, 27,000 species, you heard the number right, 27,000 species, not organisms, 27,000 species of organisms are going extinct every year. 27,000 species. At this rate, somewhere between 25 to 40 years from today, we will come to a place where a tumble will happen. Right now, a slide is happening. The slide will come to a certain place when the biodiversity has become very weak, then it will tumble down. When it tumbles down, there is nothing to do. Before that, we have to arrest this. It's very much possible to do this. Fortunately, as a policy, we brought forth this Rally for Rivers policy. Maybe most of you have not followed up. I want to tell you, the Rally for Rivers policy that we wrote, 760-page document as to how to manage India's rivers. Why India's rivers are unique compared to European or American river seas. There the water is all melting, coming from the source of melting ice. Here the only source of water we have is monsoon. The monsoon rain in the last 100 years since it's been measured has not decreased. The same volume of rain is coming. So the rain that happens in 70 to 90 days in a year, it should stay in the soil for 365 days. If that has to happen, the soil organic content should be high, it should be rich, then only it can hold. Otherwise, it will run on the surface. There is a very wise saying from the past thousands of years ago, people have spoken. They said, Kaveri nadandu vandada valam, odi vanda vellam. This means only if Kaveri comes walking, she is prosperity. If she comes, she is a disaster. Why would she run or why would she walk? If there is substantial vegetation in the land, she will walk. If there is not enough vegetation, she will run. When she runs, she will cause a disaster and she gets over. Already it is happening. Nearly 4.5 months, the Kaveri is not even reaching the ocean. What was a perennial river for thousands of years? In the last 15 years, she is not even touching the ocean. 175 kilometers inland, she is drying up. The whole length of Kaveri is 806 kilometers. In that 175 kilometers, before touching the ocean, it's drying up. So this Rally for Rivers policy, what we wrote, is about how to increase the vegetation. Why this has become necessary is, for example, Kaveri River or river basin is where I grew up, around Kaveri. How the river was 50 years ago and what it is today, only 40% is left. It is no more what it used to be. This has happened because in the last 70 years, we have removed 82% of the tree cover in Kaveri Basin. In the Ganga Basin, which accounts for 25% of India's geography and 33% of India's agriculture, we have removed 92% of tree cover. What's our plan for the country? What is our plan? It looks like definitely we are Generation Z. It is time we change this. As a part of this, to manifest this within 3.5 months, the Rally for Rivers policy became the national recommended policy.